Good afternoon and welcome to Viscount Leisure. My name's Chris and I'll be doing a virtual tour around this caravan for you this afternoon, showing you where everything is, how it operates, where all items are, and some hints and tips along the way. So with no further ado, we're going to set off by the entrance door into the caravan. The way in, what's known in the industry as our habitation door, leading into our habitation area. On everything that I'm going to tell you today, you'll find this backed up in a set of handbooks with inside the van when we get inside. We're going to set off around the outside first, then move through to the inside. So our entrance door here, open and close like so, and two full sets of keys. There's one key for the habitation door and the second one, and I can turn it to the front to lock it and turn it to the rear to unlock it like so. Close back over like that. The three long slender ones are for my hitch lock, which you'll see very shortly, and the square one there and there will cover all the remaining around the van locks. So with the door, when we open, we can clip it back, hold it into position like so. That secures it back in. Once I'm inside, I can lock it on that button there or open it from there like so. It's a stable door, so I can open half and close half at the same time. There's a fixed pane window in there that will come down, and with a blackout blind on there to keep those lights out at night when we want to sleep. And built into the door and the door frame itself is a door fly screen to keep those midges out in the summer weather. Above the door there, we have an awning light. That awning light is switched off from the switch just inside the door there. The first one does my outside light above the door with a waste bin built into there also. Also on the van, you've got an alarm, and that, press a button, beeps to arm it. You can see the light flash there. That's the alarm armed. When we get inside very shortly, you'll hear it sound off and you'll know then that it's working. Coming along, next thing along the side of our van here, it's these two vents. These are the vents from our fridge. So the fridge in our caravan and here works off three heating mediums. It's very different to a domestic fridge at home. This changes a liquid state to a gas to give you the cooling effect in the back of the fridge. So the three heating mediums you've got going on there is gas. So if you're in a field in the middle of nowhere, it will work on gas. 240 volt electric if you're plugged into electric, and 12 volts when I'm hooked up to my vehicle and travelling from A to B, C to D, etc. And you will see the inside, the controls of the fridge when we get into the caravan very shortly. But you need those vents to give you the circulation around the back. Dropping down there, you come down to your wheel. Small little wheel brace there just for checking your wheel nuts, which we'll put in the front locker when we get round there very shortly. So we'll just move this round, and there we can put that into that locker when we get there in a minute. So that's a wheel brace, little miniature wheel brace for your wheels there. And then you've got an auto engage mover. Now the mover on here will turn your van into a remote caravan for hooking up, moving around, etc. And we will demonstrate that at the very end of this display. So this teaching, so there will be, so you'll see that operating and how it operates. Along from there, we come to our 240 volt external socket, which is a domesticated square pin socket there. That will only give you power when you're plugged into mains electric, and you'll hear me reiterate this on several occasions. Anything that looks like it belongs at home will only work when you're plugged into mains. So if you're on a site on mains, if you're on a site on a field in the middle of nowhere, it won't work. You won't have 240 volts, therefore it won't work. The idea of that is you can put an extender board in there, close it down, seal it away, and operate that outside under an awning for slow cookers, etc., if that's what you chose to do in your awning. Some people do, I know, or operate a hot plate out there. Always make sure, however, that that's disconnected and put away in the evening. Damp and electrics, as we well know, don't mix, so it's always a good idea to unplug it and put it away. Coming through now, we come through to a locker there, which is down through. It's been split down through this side here to keep that section separate from out here. So we've got storage underneath here for anything that you want to put under there. There's the alarm control box just under there, and just forwards, just down there, is my fuse interface from my towing electrics through to the rear of the van. And there, 1 and 2 will lock that off like so. Next thing along here is our external gas barbecue point, and you can see that it comes with a completed bayonet connection, which you would connect your gas hose to your barbecue, turn it into the position like that to open it and release it, and comes off. Once you've connected that up with a Jubilee clip to your barbecue, it would stay on there all the time, and you just plug it in and turn, and that then comes direct off the bottles inside our van. I'm just going to put that on the step because when we get into the van very shortly, I'll remember to take it in and we'll put it in the handbooks provided. Now, on each corner of your van, you've got corner steadies, 1, 2, 3 and 4. They are there, as the word says, to steady the van, as a stabiliser unit. So once you've got your van sighted, level and in the right position, you can then put your legs down, which gives it the stabilising effect, which then allows people to go in without tipping it over or it moving around. So you get it level by reversing or driving up onto a levelling wedge to level you from left to right, and then using the jockey wheel here, the pegs at the front there, I can wind that up and down, lift the front, lower the front to get it level from front to back. Once you're happy, you're in the level position, handle goes in, winding down the corner steadies like so. So that once they're all down, it means we can go in there and it's all nice and stable and firm to the ground. So that's your corner steadies, one on each corner. It is critical that you have your van level. It's the fridge that desperately needs to be that definitely likes to be level. If you're out of truth, seriously out of truth, it will not operate or it'll be very inefficient. So that is the key thing for levelling your van. Secondly is your grey water. Everything from your wash hand basin, kitchen sink and shower drains out through some outlet points. Again, if you're not level, that will not be as efficient. And thirdly, really a bit of your own comfort. Coming across to something else we've got on each corner is what we call grab handles here, that we can use to pull and move our van around. One person on each handle can move the van around. Although you've got the mover on here, that's absolutely perfect for what you need to do, because you can just engage that and operate the mover. Coming through to the workings here between tow vehicle and caravan is our airframe and all the equipment on the front of here. So what we've got to start with then is our 13-pin electrics that will plug into your tow vehicle. Okay, now those 13-pin socket there will supply all my rear lights, indicators, brake lights, high level brake light, etc, etc, and it will also supply my fridge when I'm connected to my tow vehicle to operate my fridge on the 12-volt system for when I'm traveling from A to B, C to D, etc. And also it will put a charge through to my leisure battery, which we'll see around the corner in a minute. So it's got a few uses on there. If you have a tow vehicle already with a 7-pin socket outlet, you can get a 7 to go to the 13 adapters, so there's no need to worry. If you're having a tow bar fitted for the very first time, make sure that you have 13-pin electrics fitted for this caravan. The jockey wheel we've just discussed, we can raise it and lower it like so, and once it's in its stored position, we lift the handle and store the wheel up. Now, if you're new to this, when you come to collect for the very first time, we will go through the connecting up with you and show you that. Alongside that here, we've got what we call a breakaway cable, and that breakaway cable is connected to our handbrake. Our handbrake is no buttons, it's just a push to release it down and a pull back up to put it up like so, and that's your handbrake operation on and off. The idea of the breakaway cable is you hook it to your tow vehicle once you're connected up, if you've got a hook there, or you take it round the tow ball and clip it back on itself like so. And the idea of that is, should the caravan become detached from your tow bar, it snatches at that, pulls the handbrake on. There's your alarm now just sounding. Okay, so that proves that's working. Okay, nicely. That was the movement on the van from the handbrake. To cancel it, mid position there. Off like so. Okay, so it's the mid button there, pushes it off, and the mid button that pushes it on. Okay, so there we go. That's your fobs on there for your alarm. Now we've heard that happening. So there's your handbrake, breakaway cable, your jockey wheel and your electrics, and then we come up to the main connecting piece here. First of all, what we're going to do is take our hitch lock off. This is a security that comes with the caravan for you, so it's what we call a hitch lock, and we can take that off, release that top off like so. Always tend to put them all back together when I'm taking it away, connect up for towing like so. Okay, drop that down there, and then underneath there we've got our added security ball. That's on the security side. What we're now going to do is simulate connecting up to your tow vehicle, so you reverse your tow vehicle up underneath the hitch itself, lower down on the jockey wheel, and that will come down and lock onto the tow ball. Once you're connected to the tow ball of your vehicle, wind the jockey wheel back up and watch the back of your tow vehicle raise. Once you know it's raised up, you know you're fully interconnected. The handle here is a stabilising unit that you can push down, and that will lock 4 plastic thrust pads onto the tow ball of your vehicle, and that will minimise the pitch and roll up and down and left and right swaying motions from your van to your car. So it gives you a finer, better towing position. So that's a stabilising unit on there. It's of paramount importance prior to coming to collect a caravan, if you've had a new tow bar fitted, that the ball that comes, the tow ball that comes supplied, is stripped down to clean bare steel. Okay, it will come painted. You need to get your emery cloth out, clean it all up and strip it right back to a nice shiny steel. If you've had a tow ball on your car before and you've used it for a horse box or a trailer of some description, and it has got a greased hitch on there, make sure that it's fully degreased, wipe clean, and again back to nice shiny steel. The reason being, plastic thrust pads, those thrust pads are what we call friction pads. They put the force onto the tow ball and minimise the movement around. So it's really important that that tow ball is kept clean at all times. Right, so what you've got onto site, you're levelled up, you've got your disconnected from your car, you want to put your security back on. The first thing you do is come along, put the security ball back underneath, drop that on like so, get the hitch lock from out of the front locker or out of the boot of your car, take it off there like so, and then drop that back on. Little hook goes under the handle and the pin goes back in like so, thus locking that on and giving you the security on there that you need. Just behind the airframe we've got that we call the gas locker. There's our LPG sticker under there. So there's our gas locker, and that's able of taking 2 gas bottles in here. So we can see we've got 2 in there strapped in. This is my test bottle. It will come off at the end of this demonstration. Okay, ready for my next demonstration. So that's my bottle secured in for travelling. So that's one of the do's, make sure it's secured in. The other thing is I always recommend you turn the gas off before you drive off, and that's a brass valve on top of the bottle, and you turn that in an anti-clockwise to open it and a clockwise to close it. From the bottle we've got the gas coming through the hose, in through a regulator up the top and down through into the van. Once it gets into the van, it goes through a series of isolating valves so that each and independent appliances inside can be isolated should they need to have to be done so too. So one thing to note on here, to undo this with a spanner that you would need to purchase, it's a back to front thread, so that we can close the bottle off in a clockwise direction, we undo that in a clockwise direction. Please remember, it's a back to front thread. It needs to be cleaned, taken off in a clockwise direction with a spanner. And always when you open your bottle for the first time, always go in and light your hobs, because that purges the system and any air that will have got in there. So when you light other appliances, they light first time every time. The little black bag there is the bag for our hitch lock. Got a nice airframe cover there that covers all of this for weather conditions, sun and rain. It keeps this all protected, and there's a couple of lengths there of grey water hose, and I'll show you what will happen and where they'll go very shortly. And then we can put our corner steady handle, a little wheel brace in there like so, dropping the front locker down back into there, and we'll lock that up when we take the bottle off later on. Coming round through to this side, here's a flue from our Aldi heating system that operates on gas and or electric, and that will heat my hot water and my van heating. And if I'm operating it on gas, that's the flue where it will naturally flue out. My other corner steady there I then come along to my water barrel, okay, which if I haven't already got, I would need to purchase what we call an aqua roll. What I need to do is go away, fill that up with water, come back to my van and drop it by the side here. The pump here comes with a van, and you'll find that in the front locker when we come round to when you come round to collecting your van. And I've got 2 points for plugging this in. The lower one, and if I look at the lower lid there, it says direct to tap. So that will take the water from this outside tank straight in and around my water system inside. Okay, I have got an internal tank on here, so I can double up the amount of water that I have, but I need to still transfer it from barrels. So I can get my first barrel of water, take the pump and put it in the top one, and that will take the water from that barrel to my internal tank. I can then go away, refill this and come back up and put it into the lower one, so that if I run out of water inside, I can use my outer one there. So I've got a couple of options on how I want to operate my water system. Coming along, we come through to our battery compartment here. This is my leisure battery, what's known as our leisure battery, and that leisure battery there provides all my power for my 12 volts inside the van. Even if I'm connected to mains, it will still provide all the power to my lights, igniters, pumps, etc, etc, because everything in your van realistically runs off 12 volts. It's only the accessories that will want to run off mains electric. Now that leisure battery on this van is charged 3 ways. It is charged, 1, by our mains electric through an onboard 240 volt charger, 2, from our tow vehicle with the engine running when we're towing from A to B, C to D, and 3, off a solar panel fitted to the roof on here, which comes in through a charge controller inside the caravan. And that's your leisure battery there. Now this leisure battery will stop on the van because of the solar panel and the constant charge it'll give it throughout the day and weather conditions like so. Please remember, it's not tested and checked, and there's no guarantee or warranty given with your leisure battery. So that is your leisure battery on your van, okay, charged in the 3 ways. The little cupboard to the side here, well, there's my mains hookup lead, and if you haven't got one, you'd need to purchase one. The 25-metre lead, and the golden rule with that is plug into your van, then go off and plug into your point of electric. Disconnect from your point of electric and then disconnect from your van. The reason we do this is because you're always dealing with dead power, so it minimises the risk of harm, injury or electrocution to yourself. Also with that, also make sure that the cable is all fully faked out and laid out and not left on a tight coil on a drum, otherwise it will overheat and melt down the inner cores of the cable. You'll also note that there's an isolating point there, which is for our motor mover, to power up the mover on the caravan. Now with that, there is the reason it's there is so that you cannot operate it with your mains lead plugged in. You must disconnect your mains lead before you operate that, and the switch in the side is to engage the motor mover, and you'll see all this operating at the end. And as we walk along now, we come along to the mover, the wheel, and then our grey water. So if you purchase an aqua roll, you also need to purchase a waste master. That waste master is a long oblong barrel that lays down side here. The 2 hoses that we've given you in the front, you can plug into there and tail down into your aqua roll, into your waste master, and that collects all the grey water from your wash hand basin, kitchen sink and shower. Okay, pretty much the rule of thumb is once your barrel's empty, your waste master's full, and off you go and fill up with water. Coming through next is our toilet. Now our toilet is none the different to a toilet at home. Instead of it going through a 6-inch soil pipe out to the sewer, it's going through a 3-inch gate valve into a holding tank. We flush it exactly the same, but instead of the tank filling up automatically, we manually fill it with water, and we add a pink chemical to it. That pink chemical does 3 things. It gives it a nice fragrant smell when we flush. It lubricates the internal pump inside that tank that pumps the water around to flush it, and it mixes with the blue chemical all very nicely that we put in our toilet cassette down here also. One thing we need to say is winterization. Frost's around, it's winter now, we need to empty all these tanks down, the barrels and things, and you'll see me do this and we'll talk in depth, and it will be fully drained and emptied when you collect it. Okay, but to empty this top tank here, there's a little pipe just in a clip housing just underneath there like so. we can pull that out, and there we can see it's now fully drained down for the winter. The plug goes into there like so, okay, and then that clips back up into the little housing underneath. So that's drained my fresh my pump toilet tank from there. You'll hear the pump operate, but there's no water in there because we've got frost around. If you're operating the van with your heating on constant, there's no need for this to be drained. It's not a problem. It's when you're finished on your trip in the winter that you need to empty it and drain it down. To remove the tank, pull the handle up and remove the tank like so. Now, if that doesn't come out with the ease that I've just demonstrated it like that, then it's for one reason only. What's happened is somebody has left the toilet gate open. Go back in and close it like so, and it'll come out nice and easy first time every time. Once it's out, you can spin it round. You can either wheel it along the ground like so, or carry it off to your Elson point, which is a waste disposal for your toilet. When you get there, remove the cap from the toilet, put it somewhere nice and safe away from where you're about to empty it, press a little air release button and empty the contents of the tank out down the pit. Once the contents of the tank are down, there's a hose there. You can hose it out, clean it out, wash it out to the standard of cleanliness that you require it to be for your personal use. Once you've done that, you can then come back to your van and charge the toilet ready for use. The good book says 75 ml of liquid blue chemical in there to 2 litres of water. If you're not going to use it in the winter, then I strongly recommend that you don't put any chemical in it at all. If you're using it regularly, then dilute it down slightly. If you're using it and it's on site and you've just emptied it out, I recommend you put your blue chemical in and then you don't add anything to it, because it takes up valuable space for when it's in use. And you will get soon fed up of putting 75 ml and measuring it. A couple of glugs out the container works absolutely fine. Coming round to the rear, there's the other grab handles we talked about. Along and round, we've got our high-level brake lights and our lighting around there. And round through to the other side, we come back to our entrance door, picking up our gas barbecue bayonet connection on our way in, opening the door and entering into the caravan. Into the caravan we go, and again in here we've got a set of bunk beds and 2 singles or a double to make up at the front, which we'll show you very shortly. And coming down into the front here is the handbook packs that we discussed earlier on, and I'm just going to drop that bayonet connection into there like so and drop that in there. And you will always find that when you collect in the second drawer down in the chest of drawers in the front there. So that we have there's another drawer there, and we've got a little breakfast bar effect that comes across there like so we can sit here, have our 10 o'clocks, tea and biscuits, coffee and biscuits at 10, cheese and wine in the evening, breakfast in the morning. Just a lovely little feature where you don't have to get the big table out permanently. Working our way around the top again here, we've got all our overhead cupboards. Push your buttons, open the cupboard doors like so. Same with that one there. Okay, and closed and locks them in position like so on that front one. Another one just there like that, locked off. And then we've got another cupboard there. And then we come through to this cupboard here, which is housing a few items of equipment. This is our power supply unit. Inside here we've got our stereo there, which is a standard JVC CD radio player. The interesting thing on that, you can tune it yourself, etc. We all know how to operate the radios, but the on-off button is there, which is the one that shows us on-off attention ATT button. Press the release plate there, we'll release the radio front, and we'll take that out. And I also put that into the handbook so you know where the radio will be when you collect your caravan, and that's your radio faceplate. So in the top half of here we've got our main 240 volt electric. There we've got our main RCD and our 3 MCBs, and they're all coded up of what they do on the sticker on the back wall just there. Coming down to the bottom, there's all my 12 volt fuses, coming down right down to the list down there, which tells me igniters, fans, sockets, etc, etc. Okay, so that is my 12 volt and 240 volt. And then I've got a series of isolators, my water heater, which I can switch on and off from here, my space heater, which powers up my Audi system. Okay, for electric I need both of those on. Okay, my charger there is my battery charger, on and off like so. Okay, and that's my main power supply unit. Coming through here is my charge controller for my spare for my solar panel. Okay, so that's my solar panel charge controller, where that's taking the solar in and then putting it down and controlling it going down to the Leisure battery, with the isolating fuses marked up to what they do up the top there. So that's the main power in the van. Coming round, we've got 4 reading lights which are all directional, that there, and they're switched independently. 1, 2, 3 and 4 just there. And underneath this front corner, just under here, is a pair of rocker switches, and that will do my, what I class as my mood lights over locker lights there, and my front down lighters over my little breakfast bar there, and my 2 front lights there. I've got a series of 240 volt sockets there, a pair there, a 12 volt and a TV aerial, so I can have a TV on the front if I wanted. Please don't forget these sockets will only be live if you're plugged into mains electric. So if you want to blow dry your hair, curl it, tongue it, straighten it, razor, shaver, kettle, toaster, okay, will only work if you're plugged into mains electric. All your windows in your caravan operate exactly the same. 1, 2, 3 and 4 will open my windows, making sure the little thumb screws are released there, and that will allow me to open my window through to 90 degrees and back and lock it off in position where I want it set at. When I've finished, I can fetch it back in like so, and then they've all got concertina blinds there, and come down again, and I've got my fly screen, so I can set and shade to any position, keep the midges out, keep the ventilation in, but still get a good view of the TV when I'm shaded from the sun. And all of these screens will do exactly, some windows will do exactly the same thing. As we said when we come in, we can either use this as 2 single beds here, or we can use it as a double. To use it as a double, we grab the leader board, as we call it there, and that will pull the bed slats out to position like so. I always recommend that you take the back cushion off, lay it in, turn it upside down, and then turn the bottom cushion upside down. It gives you a much better leveler playing field for sleeping on if you're like that, and the same on the one on the other side. When you're finished, you can just take them out, remove them, flip them back over, okay, and that makes your seats back up. I'm just going to drop these slats back away like so, so that we can see underneath these beds. There we go. We've got access into that front bit we saw that's been boarded off there, and we've got this separate area here like so. So we've got plenty of underneath storage, and we can just drop our base cushion back in like so, along with our back drops in just like that, and along with our cushion like so. The one on the other side operates exactly the same. I'm just going to open this up because this is a little bit more interesting. This has got my onboard tank underneath it. Okay, so here I've got my fresh water tank. All right, so this is what we say about your tank. This is where it comes in from the top and fills this fresh water tank. Now, it's all fairly self-explanatory because there's a lovely little sheet here that tells you what to do. Okay, internal tank supply. So if I want to operate the internal tank, which I'm doing here, okay, I would run it from that lever down like that, and these 2 drain valves in the closed drain position like that. If I want to run on my external supply from outside, I turn that round to the right, so like so, and that will take water direct from outside, barrel straight into the van. Okay, and when I come to drain the system, I have it up in that way and open those, and we will do that at the end. That pipe there is a filler, that's an overflow pipe there, and that's our drain line to empty the tank at the end of this demonstration to winterize it. So it's fairly straightforward, and there's our water pump that takes the suction from the tank and puts it around the van. And again, you'll see this all in operation. Just forward of that is our boiler. So our boiler's sat up in this front corner just underneath here, okay, and that there is where my heating and hot water comes from, and this will allow us to drain that down, and drains the boiler down on these 2 levers as well. There's our mover control box just there, and you can see you've got a small amount of storage underneath there, as you have underneath that front seat. That is a sensor there for my alarm system. That's the one that triggers off movement and senses movement inside the van or from outside the van. We can drop that cushion back in there. That's just a breather for the heating, because it's what we know as a wet system. It's very similar to at home, where the heating boiler heats up a header tank and pumps it around a vented system all the way around the van, okay, and allows the heat to come up through the backboards, etc., and comes back to the boiler to reheat it up. Coming on here, another TV station here, 240 volts aerial, satellite socket, and a light switch there that does my overhead lights above my bunk beds just there. Storage cupboard down underneath there, all nicely racked out for a kitchen area. And then again, I've got more 240 volt sockets, nice cutlery drawer in there, and storage underneath there like so. While we're still in our living arrangements, I've made the bunk beds up pre this film, so what I'll do is we'll take them down to see how they come down. You've got your ladder going up there, so what we'll do first of all is take the ladder off there, and we'll store that ladder in its storage compartment, which is just here. We tend to store it in there with our freestanding table. Okay, that freestanding table there is the table that you can put up inside or outside to sit round as a bigger family if you so wanted to do so. This is a lovely arrangement, this bunk beds, because it gives you a nice two-berth seating area afterwards as well. We've got the safety boards in there, so if we put little ones up the top, it's quite nice and safe. That just clips in, clips out like so. We'll drop that base down onto there and take this one out from here, just like that. Okay, and store those away. I'll store these away at the end. They'll most likely be under that front seat down there at the end of this. I can then take these mattresses off that become the temporary mattresses to make this top bed. That comes off like that, 1 and 2. Okay, and the easiest thing to demonstrate this is if I take these cushions off the bottom. You won't need to do this, but for me it's the easiest way to demonstrate it, by removing them like so, because by doing that we can also see everything that's going on underneath there. Okay, so again you can see we've now got storage. There's that aluminium pipe that's carrying my hot water around, which is the one that's heating my van through the fin section there, coming up through heating ducts. Now these here will fit in this cupboard down there like so, 1 and 2, and they will drop just into there. And I'm not sure, but I think these might fit in over the top as well, do they? So we can put those into there like so, so you know that you've got all your bed makeup items. Hopefully this one fits in the same way. No, maybe it doesn't. No, so we'll have to put that one under the front seat there, which I'll do later on. Okay, so once we're there, we're packed away. Okay, what we can now do is remove that table like so, and that takes that out, and then we want to fold this top down. So we remove these poppers, 1 and 2 there like so, and then we grab that and pull that over on the hinges and drop that flat back down that way. Once that's dropped back down, what we do is get the popper from there and come round and pop under, popper from there, pop round and pop it on the popper underneath. I now switch off my reading lights as we go, 1 and 2. Okay, and you've got your cupboards up there for storage as well. This now concertinas back down by pulling it back up, pushing the bottom down. That will come down and drop back into place, just like so. So that now gives you your armrest. We can now drop in that cushion into there like so. Okay, there's another 240 volt socket down there. All right, that allows us then to put this base cushion into there, just like so, and then just drop the backs in, 1 and 2, like that. And then we can get the leg of the table, pull it up into position, put that on the rail just there, like so, and we've got our table that we can set into position. So now we're back to a nice little dining area. There's a curtain there that will pull out the box, come round to shut those bunks off. Beautiful ornated family van this is. All your windows around operate the same, okay, as the ones at the front. And then we come down to, again, cupboards and drawers. Drawer there, cupboard there, another set of slide out racks there, and your chopping board and draining board, which will clip on the side of the sink just down there. Okay. Sit down here we've got our fridge. Okay, so in our fridge we'll see that we've got all our shelves, cupboards, salad crisper, etc., and our ice cube, and we have made ice in there, which you'll see very shortly. So there's your fridge, nicely operating, and that's been operating on gas. Okay, because I've had it on electric yesterday, it's on gas today. So if I press the button on the left hand side, that wakes it up. Press it again. There I've selected 240 volt electrics now. If I press it again, I go to an auto setting, so it will automatically choose what it wants. If it had no electric, it would flick over to gas. If I'd switched my gas off and I was ready for my journey and connected to the car, it would automatically change over to the battery. And there we go. There is our 12 volts coming from our tow vehicle, but because I'm not connected to a tow vehicle, it's come up with fault code 10 and it's flashing and alarming at me. Press it again and I've gone to gas or electric or into that auto setting. That auto setting is really good, but one thing to remember is if you've travelled in the auto setting, when you get to the other end, it's got a 20-minute delay. It doesn't decipher the fact that you're not going into a fuel filling station on the thought it might be trying to ignite. The button on the other side is my fridge thermostat, maximum coldness to minimum, and we normally have it set in the mid to 3/4 position. And the bottom button there is to switch it off. Press and hold, and there's my fridge now nicely switched off. With everything on, I'll come to my tab, cold through to the right, turn it through to the left. We're using the internal tank, you can hear the pump running. I've got the hot water on, so it's going to take the water through from the front corner, and it will be hot. And what we're going to do is we're going to defrost this ice, so you can see this ice melt away, okay, as we go. There we are. Okay, there it's going. And you can see steam coming off there. It's running very nicely at 60 degrees. And there is all our ice melted and gone. There we go. And off we go like so. You'll see that this is a little slow to drain. That's because I'm leaning that way because I didn't take the time to level it up. So I've got to face the consequences of that draining away slowly. It's coming down and trying to go up a hill, that's why. Coming through now to our cooker, we have got an electric hob on the rear there. Okay, so if I switch that on, and again, that will only operate when I'm plugged into 240 volt mains electric, and that will operate that rear hob there and dry it out. You'll see that starting to steam away and evaporate away. There we go. Okay, I don't want to get it too hot because we're going to shut the lid down in a minute, ready for travelling, but you can see that steaming and drying out all very nicely. We then come across to 3 gas burner and we press gas, light, ignite and hold. So press, gas, ignite, light, hold, release. Press, gas, light, ignite, hold and release. And there's our 3 gas burners. They will all go down to a simmering without going out and back up to maximum, coming through round into the off position. We come down to our grill pal and grill pal handle, and in there operating that one, press, same procedure, ignite. There we can see it's all nicely lit. Release, minimum and maximum, and back off again, so I can speed up or slow down my cooking of my toast for breakfast in the morning, and my oven does exactly the same. So it's press, gas, ignite, light, hold, release, set, 240 round to 140 to wherever I need that set at. Down below there we have got the small storage cupboard there, small pan cupboard area, okay, and inside that cupboard we've got our gas isolators. We said our gas comes up through a manifold valve. They're colour coordinated to the ones up here, and that'll be for my fridge, cooker, boiler, etc. Through the centre of the van we've got a series of skylights. The window at the front is a fixed window, doesn't move. Okay, it's just got our blackout blind on it because it doesn't open. The next one back is a full-size hecky, as we call it. That will come up like so, and it can go into a natural vented position like so. We can spin that round and drop it into there and lock that off to give us a vented position, or we can open it all the way up to get maximum ventilation. And then built into there we've got our blackout blind and our fly screen, and again we can set and vent and shade to wherever we want with that going through the roof. And once we're finished, down it comes and locks away into position like so. The one above the kitchen, press the button, operates the same all the way up, or strategically stopped on the way down with a lock position in its secondary position there, and our blackout blind and fly screen there like so. We've got a microwave sat up here. Start goes up in 30-second increments, and there we go with the microwave. Stop, cancel, clear, clock, kitchen timers, etc. And again, that will only operate when I'm plugged into mains electric. You've got a series of cupboards, shelves, storage, pan cupboards, plate racks, etc. in there like so, through into there, and through onto this side like so. So that just covers the kitchen area, microwave, fridge, cooking. Our lights up above there are switched from the switch by our outside lights, so that's my overhead lights up there also. So we now come through to our bathroom area. Okay, into our bathroom we come, skylight here, the same as the one in the kitchen, along here with a frosted window, radiator which is all nice and warm, lovely wardrobe here which will open and close, and there's the header tank for our Audi system here. That header tank there is the Audi heater there is for my heating system. Okay, so that allows my water to come up, down, and it's an expansion tank. So it's running about halfway, which is just about right between maximum and minimum. So it's designed in an expansion. We heat that water up in the boiler at the front, and it pumps it around through the system. Okay, so that is my heater there. Okay, the towel rail is isolated from there. It's electric only on this towel rail, so it's electric heated towel rail. So again, that will only work when I'm plugged into mains electric and I've switched it on. Beneath the side here, I've got a series of drawers for storing my small items of clothing in, and then we come to our TV aerial sat here. I can slacken the collar off on there, and I can raise that aerial up and direct it to give me the best possible picture. That aerial comes along into the antenna end and then boosts the signal out to the 2 points that we've already seen. When we come down, we have the red dot facing there, and lock that off on the collar, and the booster there can be switched on and switched off by the switch in the top left hand corner just there if you wanted to do so, which again is fed from the 12-volt feed system. You can hear the pump running in there, circulating that water around our heating system. Through to there we go. Over the other side here we've got another cupboard, and we've seen the table already, but we've got some small storage up there. And then we've got our, because we've had hot water in the kitchen sink, we're guaranteed to have hot water through the van, because one boiler feeds all the system. Just takes a little long, it's just got to push it through from the front. There we go. Ouch, that's lovely. Okay, wow, there we go. And then we've got our shower here, which operates exactly the same way, and that one you can press and hold. So that's very nice. You can just wet down, soak down, rinse off to preserve your water, amount of water usage on your tap on there. With your nice shower compartment there. And again, here we've got our shower door, comes over when that's not in use there, and clips over like so, and back over we go, travelling with it in the closed position. Our light switch here switches the lights off in my shower and there. but I can also switch that one off so it doesn't come on, so at night I could just put those two on like so if I wanted to, or I could switch them all off. We come down to our toilet now, and here is our toilet, and we talked about the lever on the front and being open and closed. There we are in the open position, there we are closed. And what we do now is we go to the toilet any same way as you do at home, sit or stand. Once you're finished, press and flush. That will push the water from there around the system, open the gate, drain it down into the contents. The pink, the blue chemicals all go down together. Once it's fully drained and fully gone down there, we can then close that gate over, thus retaining the smells in the tank and not in the van, and allowing the operator the ease to extract the toilet tank first time every time. So it's as easy as that to operate your toilet. And there's your bathroom, or your ensuite, however you want to deem it. Lovely end bathroom on there. Coming through, that's again, the light does that one and the one above the door, and you've got a couple of storage cupboards, doors just underneath there for storage on that edge as well. That allows me to come down to the last couple of bits. One is my smoke detector there. Testing this was got, there we go. There's your smoke alarm working all very nicely. So now below that we've got our Audi heating control panel. This is the one that controls my boiler out down the front. So you can see I can scroll across these top bars like so. If I go all the way over to the beginning, on or off is my main unit, on and off. Come across to the next one, the little thermometer is my room temperature, and you can see I can increase my room temperature by plus up or minus down. Okay, so if I go up there like so, 27.5 degrees, store it, it's going to heat my van to 27.5 degrees. And I know the pump's cut in because the little circulation item is just there in that corner. If I scroll across again, I come to my hot water, on or off like so, and I can set my hot water on or off. On, store it, and there's my hot water on. Come across to the next one, which is a flame. That's my power, so that's my gas. My flame is my gas. I can switch that on or off by pressing on or off, store and set it, and there we are. The next one over with a little lightning strike in the corner is my electric, and I've got 2 kilowatts selected. I can select 1 kilowatt or switch it off. 1 or 2 kilowatts, store it and set it, and that's my kilowatts. And you can see I was using gas and electric together because that's what we deem as a winter setting. It heats the van up very much quicker, and if it's not needed, the gas won't be used. In the summer, if you're on site on electric, I would just use the electric to heat my hot water. In the winter, if I'm out on site with electric, I'd use electric and gas, and if I'm in a field in the middle of nowhere, winter or summer, I'd use gas on its own. I can carry on scrolling through here, and it takes me through a whole remit of other items to go into and settings. I'm not going to get you bogged down. This is a basic operation that you need to know. So I can switch my unit on and off from there, come abreast to my thermostat there, and that's my room temperature, which I'm going to take down to a sensible temperature, 19 degrees, and store that. My hot water, I'm now going to switch it off because we're going to come through to switch the system off. I'm going to switch my gas off for my boiler by pressing off there. I'm going to switch my electric off to that position there. Okay, and if I now scroll back through to the corner, off, step, that will switch my panel off, and I'll all shut down, and it'll go through its own shutdown sequence. And that's a straightforward operation of the Audi system, and that will be in the handbooks as well also. Okay, coming up to our next control panel up here, what we'll see is that if I press view levels there, it shows me my power's on, my water pump switched on, I'm connected to electric because there's my little lightning strike again, and I'm on my leisure battery, and there's my onboard fresh water tank showing me it's 3/4 full, and my Leisure battery's at 13.5 volts. So that gives me everything I need to know on there. Switch my water pump off. If I switch my water pump off, okay, it will naturally stop the pump from working. Water pump on, cuts it back on again. Water pump off, stops the pump. Main power, power off. There is my power off completely. I'm fully now isolated on my 12 volts. Okay, what I now need to discuss with you is draining down and winterizing the van, because we've been through and seen how everything operates on here. So what we now need to do is go through and winterize the van. Rather than jump in and out, I'll talk you through the outside bits. We would take the water barrel away, empty it, dry it, fetch it inside, disconnect the water pump. Then we need to drain everything down inside the van. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, get on our hands and knees. We'll see there on the little door, drain the system. I need to turn that into that position there like so, and then I need to open both of those yellow levers into the vertical upright position. What that's going to do now is one of those is going to drain my boiler to ground, which is this one, and this one here is going to drain my water tank to ground. So when we go outside in a minute, you'll see both of those draining down to ground. That's then going to empty this tank and my boiler at the same time, and I leave those in that open position. What I now do with those open, draining my tanks down, is I come along and I open up all my taps into the mid position. The reason I do that is because when water freezes, it expands. When water expands, it needs a point of exit, or it's going to cause damage to our taps, etc. Pipe work. So by doing that, you might come into your van and find you've got a great big icicle when it's in storage, but that's good news really, because it means that there is the possibility that it's protected your taps because it's expanded and come out the end. So when you get receipt of your van for the very first time, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to come to your van, you're going to get your aqua roll, you're going to fill it with water, fetch it back to your van. If you're going to use the inboard tank, you'll plug it into the top outlet. If you're just going to use it from the barrel, you'll plug it into the bottom outlet. Once you're in there, you can then either fill your inboard tank or come along into the inside of your van with your barrel and pump plugged in, close all your taps 1, 2 and 3, and then go down into the cupboard down there and close the 2 yellow levers, the ones from the vertical upright position parallel down. Changing the valve on there to suit whether you're going to operate it from inside or outside. It's set now to pick up the water from outside the van. Once you've set there, then you can come along. What you then need to do is put your power supply and your water pump on, and then come and open your tap to cold. Once you've opened your tap to cold, move it through to hot. Once you've moved it through into the hot position, it takes 3, 4, possibly 5 minutes for that to drain down. What it's got to do, it's got to take the water from the pump outside, put it through the system, in through the boiler, and push the air that's in the boiler out through this tap. Once it's done that, you've got a constant flow of hot water, a constant flow of cold water coming through the hot side of your tap. Then you know that your system is fully purged and primed and ready to go along and put your water heating on, etc., as we've just discussed. So that's purging and priming your system, ready after winterization. Now at this time of year, if you come in this weekend and you're going to go out next weekend, you need to drain your van down every time to minimize that frost damage. I can't emphasize that enough. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go outside of our van and come round and start having a look at what we've just discussed there. So we can come along and we can disconnect our water pump by pulling the handle up like so, removing that from there just like that, and then use these wonderful microfiber cloths, okay, wipe it down, clean it down and store it away. And that's going to be stored away in the front locker just down there like so, and that will come down and lock away in a minute. You can then empty your water barrel and take it away and store it away wherever you see fit. Mine's going there for my next demonstration. And then coming along through to here, I can now disconnect my mains lead. My colleague's just whispered to me that he's disconnected the other end for me, and I can pull that out like so, disconnecting that, coiling it up and storing it away where I need to store it. I'm going to leave it there for a minute because I'm going to use it for my next van. I'd then take away my aqua roll, my grey water hoses, and come along and clip those clips back up into position like so. And there you can see that's where the grey water's come out. And if I close my battery compartment up there like so, you can see there is my water draining down now from my fresh water tank. The boiler's already drained and emptied. All my covers are now closed down and shut like so. Okay. I need to turn my gas off before I drive off, so I shall just open up the front. As we discussed earlier on, we need to turn it off in a clockwise direction like so. Okay, there we go, and there we have our gas bottle switched off just like that. Okay, and isolated away. Release the gas bottle as discussed. We get the spanner on there. Okay, lean it forwards however you choose, and this is a back to front thread. Okay, so it goes opposite to what you would normally do it. Undo there, and then you can take that nicely off there by hand like so. Okay, so it's all ready for you to fit your bottle to. Always recommend you carry 2 bottles. By carrying 2 bottles, if you run out of one, especially in the winter, it's straight ready there to connect straight to the next one. Okay, so you can take one off and then you can fill the other one at your own leisure. So there is your gas pipe through. From there we can now close the front locker down like so and lock that up with a small oblong key just there like that. One. And again, I'm going to put that over here, ready for my next setup. Okay, you again would just take that way and fill it, and then that one locks away like so. So there we have our van almost now ready, okay, to connect up to our tow vehicle. So we'll have one final check round we come. Okay, and we're going to operate the mover so we can see how that works. So we can move the step away. We're all happy with that. Everything's there. I just need to take the corner steadies up. I'm going to use my electric drill to take these corner steadies up, so we can just whip them up like so to make my life easier and far quicker. You can get these attachments to go in your battery operated drills. We do sell them in the shop. It does make life ever so simple and much quicker and easier. All right, so there we go, and the final one through there and like so. So there we have our legs all the way up, and what we're going to now do is operate our mover. So we get our mover handset and our isolating key, and the isolating key we can put in where we know it belongs now because we saw it earlier, into the side there, and turn it through to the right. That takes power straight off my leisure battery to my mover control box. What I now want to do is engage my mover, and I do that by flicking that toggle switch, and you can see the mover engaging on to the tyres. On it goes, and stop. We can now switch our handset on by operating the two red buttons at the bottom together simultaneously, and on it comes. Because the mover's now engaged, I can release the handle like so, and my caravan's not going to go anywhere because the mover's holding it in position. With the handset pressed on and the airframe in direction, I can move forwards and backwards. Okay, I can swing it from left to right, just making sure that I'm clear of everything. There we go. So with pinpoint accuracy, I can put this onto the tow vehicle of my car. Okay, I can fetch it over into line with this line here. There we go. And now we can swing it back the other way. And now we can go backwards. There we go. All nicely in position. We can swing the back round, square it up, okay, so you can get it to exactly where and when you want it. There we are. So we're all nicely in position. What do I do now I'm in position? Well, I come along and I will now switch off. My handset goes to sleep automatically. I can disconnect my mover control from there, put my handbrake on before I release my mover, and then I can release my mover, leaving the key in, handbrake on, key in, and release my mover from my van like so. Okay, and that's my mover fully wound back and fully wound off. With that wound off and wound back, I can then remove my key, close up my battery locker and lock it. Handset's gone to sleep, and we can then store that away inside the door, ready for next time. So there's our mover operation, how it operates, etc. So that completes our working demonstration around your caravan for you today. My name's been Chris. I hope this has been a useful exercise and demonstration for you. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to phone and ask for myself to answer at any time. Thanks for watching and goodbye.